Donald Trump is about to do something in economics that's never been done in American history. I want you to listen to me very carefully. You have people talking about tariffs like they know what they're talking about. People talking about tax cuts like they know what they're talking about, and so forth and so on. They really have no idea what they're talking about. I'd like you to listen to me very, very carefully. Donald Trump is trying to do all of the following at the same time, simultaneously. He wants to slash income and business taxes, slash federal individual income taxes, federal corporate income taxes, other taxes, not for billionaires, for all Americans. He wants to slash, and is, regulations. He wants to slash government spending. We've never seen anything like Doge and Elon Musk and those folks in our lives. He wants to slash the size of government, trying to eliminate departments and agencies and personnel. We've never seen anything like this. At the same time, he's increasing tariffs. Now, is he increasing tariffs because he likes increasing tariffs? No, he's increasing tariffs because other countries have been increasing tariffs against us without any response, and I'm going to get to that in a minute. Now, why is this so important? Well, obviously, we want the economy to do well, except for the Democrats. They want it to tank because they think it'll help them. But put them aside. This is the most aggressive effort at pro-American growth in American history. I want you to listen to me carefully. From the founding to 1913, we didn't have an income tax. We had a short temporary one during the Civil War. It was ruled unconstitutional because it was. But from our founding up to 1913, 95% of the federal government was funded by tariffs at a rate of approximately 20% on average. Now follow me. We had two major industrial revolutions during this time. From 1750 to 1850, there was no income tax, only tariffs. The second big industrial revolution was from 1850 to 1913. 1913, the passing of the federal income tax under the 16th Amendment. The two great industrial revolutions occurred when tariffs were funding the federal government and there was no federal income tax. What I would argue is the third great industrial revolution occurred under Ronald Reagan for 6 of his 8 years. With his massive tax cuts across the board, we hadn't seen anything like that since the second great industrial revolution. The economy grew under Reagan by almost 30% by the time he left office. It grew more than what was then West Germany. It was massive. In fact, it grew into the Clinton administration, which helped balance the budget. It started in about 1983, and it went into the mid-1990s. And despite what people say, if you look at Reagan's record on free markets, it was not stellar. In fact, the Cato Institute, Reason Magazine, these libertarians, they were very upset with him at the time. So when you hear Rand Paul, one of the 4 Republicans who voted the other day, and says, this takes us back to the 1930s, no, it doesn't. Because in the 1930s, there was massive increase in spending. There wasn't slashing of taxes. There wasn't slashing of regulations. And the Depression went on for 10 years, from 1929 to 1939, because Franklin Roosevelt was a socialist. Donald Trump is a capitalist. But there's even more than that. The Great Depression that occurred in our country, we've had really 2 Great Depressions. And the 2 Great Depressions occurred from 1873 to 1879, the first Great Depression. And the second Great Depression was from 1929 to 1939. No less a great economist than Milton Friedman, a libertarian, by the way, made the point, the Great Depression that occurred from 1929 to 39 wasn't due to tariffs. It was due to monetary policy. And he points out there was a severe monetary contraction by the Federal Reserve. So when the money should have been freed up for investment at the time when the economy is beginning to contract, he has argued that what the Federal Reserve did is they took a bad recession and they turned it into a depression by tightening money. In fact, he wrote extensively about this. He said the stock of money, the money supply, from 1929 to 33 fell by over 1/3, by over 33%. So there wasn't enough cash available for people to actually physically buy things or invest because the Federal Reserve contracted the monetary policy so much, the contracting economy collapsed. And then, of course, on top of that, you had the socialist policies of FDR. Two great professors from UCLA, economists, wrote about this too. Donald Trump is doing nothing like this. First of all, he's not in charge of monetary policy. What he's doing is something that's never been done in American history. He's looking at the size of government. He's shrinking it. He's looking at the spending of government. He's trying to shrink it. He's looking at the regulations. He's trying to shrink them. He's looking at the size of government, the number of employees. He's trying to shrink it. He's looking at the taxes. He's trying to slash them. All pro-growth, all private sector oriented, all middle class oriented, all capital, R&D, consumer oriented. That's not what happened at these other times. That's a key issue. At the same time, he's using tariffs to do what? To re-industrialize America in areas that we've been deindustrialized. We can't even build ships anymore. We have to rely on other countries for so much of what we do. Now let's take a careful look at this. Capital goods, excluding automotive, took the top spot of imports in 2023, clocking in at $859.1 billion. What does that include? Electric devices, computers were the two highest types of capital goods imported. Telecommunications equipment, industrial machinery, followed in the highest values of imports. This category also includes semiconductors, food machinery, aircraft parts. Consumer goods were the second largest commodity imported by the United States. Almost $758 billion worth of goods imported. Pharmaceutical preparations were the top commodity. We can't produce our own pharmaceuticals without importing these various elements, mostly from China. Followed by products in the cell phones. Other household good category. Consumer goods also include furniture, artwork, apparel, glassware. Next on the list were industrial supplies and materials, almost $700 billion. Crude oil. Even though we're energy independent, the prior administration made us more dependent than ever, but we still use more energy than we produce today. Donald Trump is trying to change that too. Again, we've never seen anything like this in American history. The pro-growth side of the Trump agenda is unmatched. It's unmatched. It's not just tax cuts. It's cutting government. It's cutting government personnel. It's cutting regulations. We have never, ever seen anything like this. Ever.